How you doing? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about just being wound up when you're sober. Especially in the earlier days. This one comes from, I'll read you a comment from somebody called channel Unpopular Opinion. They say, 22 days dry today. I feel so wound up and ready to explode, and I'm starting to wonder if I can continue to not drink. I want to feel loose and relaxed. I think this is a problem that a lot of people face, especially in the earlier days of this journey. And it really comes out of, look, we've got three areas of this journey as far as I'm concerned. There's stop the flow, do the work, and move on. Stopping the flow is obvious. Doing the work is figuring out what you've got to do, changing your mindsets, changing the way that you live, changing the way that you think in order to... You're basically building a person who doesn't drink about alcohol. You're building that person that you want to be in the third part, in the moving on part. The moving on is where you don't give a crap about alcohol anymore. Alcohol doesn't come into the equation for you whatsoever. Other people can do what they want. Alcohol can be around you, but you don't care, right? That's where we want to get you to, and you have to build that slowly. So a lot of the time you're having to come out of your comfort zone into your discomfort zone and try and do that without getting into the overwhelm zone, we like to call it. And that's the problem, is a lot of people push themselves too far, or they don't have the motivation to continue on. The problem with alcohol is that it causes you enough pain until you change. Most people will go through the cycle of moderation. They'll pretend that they're changing, or they'll try to do that without actually stopping drinking alcohol, and they'll think that they're changing, but they go into this cycle of moderation, going back to normal, moderation, going back to normal, and then eventually the pain becomes so much that they eventually say, well, I'm going to try to quit now, this is it. But the pain that brought you to that stage is only going to last so long. And once the pain is gone, then the motivation goes with it. Now, the problem is, once the motivation to stay sober is gone, right? The sobriety, if you haven't changed enough about your life, if you haven't changed a lot of your mindsets, that is going to cause you pain, right? So there's more pain then with staying sober. You're associating with sober. So it's important that you change a lot of these things fast in the early stages. Now, in Habits Feed 2, one of our tasks is, especially during the preparation stages, to do as much as we can to help you to get into the state of mind to change some of the frames that you're looking at things, to change the way that you're looking about yourself, how you're looking about alcohol in your life, some of the myths about alcohol, all of these kind of things that will, by the time you get to day one where you're ready to stop alcohol, you're generally really raring to go, right? You can't wait. A lot of people don't even want to finish the preparation stage. They jump across into stopping drinking alcohol so fast because they really have that frame, those new frames of mindset in place, right? And it's not the end of the journey. You still have to do a lot of work, that's the problem. But the thing is to have something in front of you that is pulling you forwards rather than the alcohol pulling you back, because if that alcohol is still there after a few weeks or a couple of months, if that alcohol is still, that alcohol need is still there, or the old alcohol life where you still have you feel like you're missing out on something in the old life, then that is going to be a pull backwards. So you need the pull forwards to be more, if you get what I mean. So it's all about changing mindsets, trying to get as many of the mindsets, the positive mindsets about what you're doing, in place as soon as possible. It's also about contextualizing your discomfort and saying to yourself, well, this is something that I have to go through this. It's, in order to go through change, I've got to step outside of my comfort zone. That comfort zone is where there's no change, or the change that is happening is the change that you're not directing. So stepping out of the comfort zone means you're directing your own change, right? Or you're pushing your own change. And then the trick is to not have enough discomfort so that you're making the change happen, but not enough that you're overwhelming yourself. You're getting into that overwhelmed state. So maintaining those levels of discomfort at sort of a manageable level. I always look at things from the perspective of time, energy, growth, health and wealth, right? And it's in that growth aspect. You're growing from the old self into the new self. You're growing from the old drinker's mind, the way you used to think about yourself and the way you used to think about alcohol, into the new version of yourself, the new life. And that is, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but it's a step-by-step process, and you do it step by step by step by step, right? The more processes that you can have in place, the better it is, and the simpler the processes. You know, we've said in a video yesterday, the day before, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and you don't have to know all the steps, but you have to know how you're going to do that, right? You know, simple, one step in front of the other, and then, you know, you move on from there. So if you want help to stop drinking alcohol, Habits V2, we're always there. And yeah, take care of yourself, and I will speak to you again soon. If you've got any questions that you want to ask, leave them down below in the comments, and we do prioritize people who are publicly subscribed to the channel. So we go through those questions first, and then we go on to the other one. So if you want to make sure that your question comes out on top, then please be subscribed. All right, take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you again. Onwards and upwards. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Bye now.